Baldwin could find himself behind bars if he is convicted of 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter. The shooting death of Rust cinematographer Helena Hutchins in 2021 rocked Hollywood, the nation. But it is not the first time tragedy has struck a movie set, and we've been talking about safety on sets. Sarah Jones was a 27-year-old camera assistant when she was killed in 2014. She died during a train accident on the set of the movie Midnight Rider. The camera crews did not have permission to be on the tracks at the time, but the film's director pushed crews to shoot on those tracks anyway. Her death also prompted calls to improve on-set safety across the country. That movement is led by Sarah's father, and I want to welcome him to the program this morning to get some reaction to the developments in the Rust situation. Richard Jones is the executive director at the Sarah Jones Film Foundation. Richard, you and I have spoken several times before. Thank you for coming back on. It means a lot to us. I'd like to first just start with your reaction. I don't think anybody disputes that the fact that Helena Hutchins died was an accident, but criminally charging Alec Baldwin and also the armor on the set, how did that land with you?
First of all, it's really not my place to say exactly who should be charged with what crime. There were several people in a chain of events that led to Helena's death, and if any one of those people had done their job, this tragedy would not have occurred to start with. I will say, as someone who tragically lost their daughter on a movie set, that those found to be responsible for Helena's death need to be held fully accountable. Otherwise, this most likely it'll happen again, unfortunately. So, and I'll also say that the parallels between Helena's death and Rust and Sarah Jones's death in Midnight Rider really, they need to be examined, and I think we need to understand the root causes if we're going to really prevent this sort of tragedy from occurring again. And while the tragedies involve professionals that failed in their duties, and they do need to be held fully accountable, we need to look deeper into the productions themselves also, and how and who hired these professionals that failed in their duties. Was the budget sufficient to realize the production's vision? What duties do the producers hold in assuring the safety for their cast and crew? And I mean, these are some deeper and harder questions we need to ask beyond this. But I'm pleased that the district attorney is pursuing holding people accountable for Helena's death.
So what I'm hearing you say, Richard, is that by holding them accountable, it does send a message, and it could, in fact, enact the change that you have been advocating for, calling for since 2014 when you lost Sarah.
Yes, that's exactly right. I'd hoped that with Sarah's death that would have created the change needed. And I think with that and our Safety for Sarah efforts, it has helped in the industry. But sadly, with Helena's death, it is apparent that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. And part of it is accountability, absolutely.
The other layer to this, Richard, is advocacy and speaking up when you see that the procedures and the safety plans that have been put in place are not being followed. It's one thing to have rules. It's quite another to break them or be lax on following them. So how do you take that step on movie sets? What message does this send to people at all levels of a production that every I must be dotted, T must be crossed?
Well, you make an excellent point. In the case of Helena's death, contract services and industry standards safety guidelines, number one, deals with firearms. And clearly, if they had been followed, those guidelines, that Helena would not have lost her life. And likewise with Sarah Jones's death, safety guidelines number 28 dealing with railroad safety. If they had been followed, clearly Sarah would not have lost her life. So yes, there are rules in place But unfortunately, it lacks enforcement, though. And a lot of it also just comes down to the care as well.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.